Okay, so good morning. Okay. Massage major baruche, Mandemenga Nangamonia, Susorashi, what to some Java Yonla chat. Jagajeto Bagawa de Panjabaram and Darsheta Jeto Jumden, the Mashiro Jabaru to Jambanian Bojumden, the Mashiro Jabaru to Jambala chat, and the Jeta Jetu Jumden the Jabuka, Jago Bambar, like Jamon Jendo Jambata, Joseph Jendo Jambata, Jetos. There's a Junde de Somona was Jeju and Rajeting and Zalanyon Bashoso Yan, there's Joseph Bazamba Jamba Baba Jeres, Ujushiro Japaroto Jumbo, so much of Vanilla, Nabata Japamong about the dollar. Rashiki Tombayan Tabaches or Tavos, Tenazan Jeju to Earth and the Bachere, Josam Bazamba Jamba Baba Jeres, and Jola de Gemas or Ricky Pomokala. Shiroji Paruto Chimba Soma Juba Juba the Bade Judalo Baja, the Gejama Bada Jaju Samba Samba Jamba Baba Jaras of Wanju Jitset and the Bashareta de Bola de Gejam Associated Rigi Bomagana Shiroji Paruto Chimba Soma Juba. Juba de Deta number Tawaja de Pomanga de Talaya Rashiki Tomba and the Bajas of Tavo Sutombo Tomani Sulu Sole Tomani Shamaya Tomani Lejasushamaya notation to Sowata to Chetan to Chetan number Shipanatombo. Shiripo the Chota Jotomajin the same member Manjaba Manga Mamba Manda Drawa Mamba Drawa Mamba Kawa Mamba the Tarwana Tomanina Sumet Woman to Shimento Jimena Bashaba Memena Mena Mechim, so Meta Metimer Romeris. Chumendo Biji Kamamane, Jakame, Janaba Shivaka Jabato Yamando Mareba, Mareba Sabama, Gashima, Gashisaba Pato Yamato, the Shintomo, the Gujo, Patalame, Shimato, Mamato, Yamato, Cheripata, Wana, Jerusamana. Chero Japaro, the Jamadela, the Genesis, and Ataba, Jataba, Majijola, and Yangal, the Batara, Childusu, Nabachevas, and Jeta, Japaro, the Jamadela, and Alama, Mayana, was always in Jotomas of Asa. The Tawana Chero Japaro, the Jamanga, Bachemanga, Alana, Menga, Minyabadanya, Brajavanga, the Jorodo, Jorjavanga, and Japan, the Bachapacha, the Chero Japaro, the Jamanga, Batayat. Umakateka de Paranga, the Parasanga, the Bode, Soha, Jerebo, and Jusamba Sambachamba, the Chero Japaro, the Chimasamana, Brajava, the native the thing and the Lesha, the Jusamba Sambachamba for Pajanas. Ojula Leso, Chichawajana, Lesore, Japote, the Geno, the Chidriki, the Badishi, the Chero Japaro, the Champala Chavacha, the Shishabana, so you know much of the Chicas and etc. The Basharibu. The Jusamba Sambachamba Pajaras, on Jotata, the Bacro, the Tatalata, and the Lamain, the Sachi. Jum de Jisumbalang, but to that home, got the Parasanga, the Potes, what I got the Pranga, the Parasanga, the Potes, what I got the Pranga. The Omakadeka, the Paranga, the Parasanga, the Potes, Soha, Namalama Charles, Los Angeles, Charles, Jinala Charles, Machara, the Paranjamala Charles, the Bitcher. Chidamolo, Jiji, Mashara, the Paranjamata, Somayela, Sakato, the Jabala, the Jealous of Medivicho, the Chara, the Vatican, the Mashara, the Paranjamata, Somayela, Sakato, Jabala. To the jealous of Medivicho, the chair, Dobro Juji, member Juji, Shiva Juji, Rato Shiva George, Kanjit, Jeto, Kapa member, Jamamba, Chapa member, Tamamba, war member, Tata, the Medic. Trovanishi, the Basovas and Yamana, Jetamba de la Chaza, Lord, Jeretonda, Jesuwa, the Mindin, Becan, the Trovata, Tomato, Jefferson, Trashi, the Jat, and the show, Omichi, Portando, the Sosan Jacunimo, Rasicho, so Lamana language, Tabjeto Jesu, Shimendo de Jabonjoba, Sejambota Vajibo, Shejo de language. Timos of Doji Jangodo, Matashi Jangoba Jitawa, Tajesaba, Kunji, Yamen, Orange Gujas. Tasso Jeta Jelo Choso, Chingelaptos, Cholando Loma Chingelaptos, Lantroposo, Chingelaptos, Tropa Isus, Java Chingelaptos, Nanji, the Pandalaman Sola Gypsy. Chichi Gelata Lamanzola Gypsa Java, Nasa Pandalaman Sola Gypsa Java, Toba, that Roa Chingelaptos, Tojian Roa Chingelaptos, the Zato, the Bachingelaptos. Chaja Chembe Chojango, Daniela Tova Chingelaptos, Sanja Gunda Lamala, Kusungo Bachebecha, Salon de Mendel, Roma Shabata, Sedan Robanya Bachingi. Good morning.
Лама, приветствую всех.
Ornament of the Mahayana-сутра.
Сегодня продолжаем учение по
Chapter
Украшению Махаянских
13,
сутр.
Teaching the Dharma. Last
Глава
chapter was
13 учение Дхармы,
truly investigation of the
проповедование
Dharma.
Дхармы.
Investigation means the seeking the spiritual guiding or spiritual advice.
Прошлая глава была посвящена исследованию Дхармы, поиску Дхармы для изучения.
Seeking the Dharma. Yeah. Because without the seeking, without the receiving ourselves, we cannot share the Dharma to others.
Лама еще раз напоминает, что без исследований, получения учений мы не можем поделиться учениями с другими.
First we have to receive ourselves, then we can share. So after the receive, in the Mahayana,
после того, как мы получили учение,
whatever we do for others' sake.
Мы начинаем трудиться ради блага других живых существ.
Lord Jitesungha said, Buddha, even not going to take a breathe without the benefit of other sentient beings. So when it comes to the Mahayana sake, anything, even our eating, sleeping, walking, just common things, normal, our mundane activity also become a part of the benefit of other sentient beings. Like when you eat food, you have to eat food, so that way you get body, get strength, so you can help other beings. when you sleep, also same things, so that way you get more energy, so you can continually help. So
И Лама говорит, что
taking
даже
care of
сон
your
мы
health
используем для
and
того, чтобы
taking
накопить
care of
энергию,
your
чтобы снова помогать
well-being is
другим
also
живым
for
существам.
others' sake. So that reason in the
Все
Mahayana
делается
there's
ради других живых
nothing
существ.
that what we perform activity physically, verbally, mentally, which not become benefit of other sentient beings.
И вот в Махаяне
So
мы
that
делаем все
reason,
активности на благо всех живых
including
существ.
receiving teachings, also we have to receive teaching that way we can
И мы
help
должны
other
получать
sentient
учения
beings,
для
you
того,
know.
чтобы потом поделиться с теми же
Then
распространением
every
Дхармы,
day
проповедью.
we must pray that I become benefactor for other beings. That is, I think, can say basic principle of being Mahayana. Because we have a human nature, habituate
Вот
that
принцип
we only
помощи
focus
другим — это
on
базовый
how can
принцип
gain
Махаяны.
ourselves.
И
What good
вот
for
наша
me?
человеческая
What
природа
I
она такова,
benefit?
что мы
What I would
стремимся
get
все
from this? You know.
для себя, что мы думаем о том, какая выгода, что мы получим от чего-то
That
с нашим
that
обычным мыслям.
habit, that kind of a behavior,
И
even we
такое
are
поведение,
entering into the Mahayana, it
даже
will
если
take
мы в
much
Махаяне,
longer to reach to the Buddhahood, because this
и
behavior
при
of
таком образе
self,
мысли нам будет гораздо сложнее
self-cherishing or
достичь.
self-thinking, you know. Yeah. So this reason,
Если мы
when
будем
come to the
слишком сильно
Mahayana
зацикливаться
practice,
на себе.
everything must be benefit of other sentient beings.
Итак, согласно Махаяне,
So that
все
reason,
должно быть на благо живых существ. Все действия должны быть на благо живых существ.
I think sometimes some people have hesitation of the giving Dharma teachings.
Иногда некоторые люди
And
испытывают
then
колебания,
also
учить
another
дхарме или нет.
time, there's some people have this kind of like a over confidence. You shouldn't be overconfident, but when you learn something, you must share that to the other.
И хотела Лама говорить, что не надо быть чрезмерно самоуверенным, но если вы получили какое-то учение, нужно делиться.
So including Dharma teaching, the reason Bodhisattva, once they receive the Dharma teaching, they must share. So this is a chapter 13, is about
об этом говорится
how
как
to
раз в
share.
главе 13,
Okay?
о том, как делиться,
So here,
проповедовать Дхарму.
first said, if
Сначала,
state face.
итак, в
State
первом стихе
face is
говорится,
one of the Bodhisattva's name. There's some like
стойкие, начинается со слова стойкие. Стойкие — это одно из имен Бодхисаттвы.
20 or 40 names there. So one of that is a state face,
Бодхисаттвы более
heroic,
40 имен,
courageous one, you know, compassionate one. So there's many names for the Bodhisattva. So because why is a state face? Because Bodhisattva is really unchanging. No matter what difficulty come, they never change. Like our behaviors, when things easy, we follow continually. When rough time come, we give up. Bodhisattva, no matter how rough time come, how difficult come, they will never give up. That way called the state face. You know, so that much they are steady. Yeah. So that is one of the Bodhisattva's name. If state face means the talk about the Bodhisattva joyously and forever give away immense gift to being who is suffering. So when Bodhisattva give, they give the joyfully. Whatever they can give, they get joy. Why? Because their intention is want to help other sentient beings. With this kind of intention of a motivation of the compassion, whenever you get chance, it gives you truly joy. So Bodhisattvas have a truly joy, like how mother can truly joy when they help their own child. You know, so that kind of joy, they like a sincere joy they have a Bodhisattva. Forever give is like they not give for any kind of like a rewards. They not give for any kind of a return. You know, like when we give, we have hope. You know, we give hoping to they do something to you. Like when you go to the offering to the Lama, your hope is you get more benefit of merit. Make sense? Yeah, merit or power or blessing, or you always seeking some kind of return.
Мы ищем
when we
какую-то
do
помощь
that
или
one. But
благодетель.
when Bodhisattva give truly,
Но когда
there's
бодхисаттвы
no
дают,
really seeking up
они не ждут
reward or
ничего
return
взамен, не
anything. So
ищут
that
какой-то
way,
награды.
forever give away. Immense give. It means that like whatever they have. You know, so that is immense. Mean that it's not talking about measurement of
то есть дары, которые нельзя измерить, как в тексте говорится, великие.
Yeah, it's not talking about the quantity. It's more talking about how, you know, how willingly you want to give whatever. Like if you are
И вот то, что великие, как раз
poor one, even giving one meal, you know, like one set of clothes, it's a kind of immense gift. But if you're rich, even you give the 1,000 temple is nothing.
Вот Лама
So
говорит,
it's
что
immense gift is talking about like willing to
даже
give
если вы
whatever you
преподносите
have.
прием пищи,
You know, so
но с
Buddha
полной
gave
мотивацией, с полной
then
радостью,
being
то
who's
это тоже
suffering,
будет великий дар.
sentient being who's suffering.
А можно, наоборот,
Live and rich,
построить
they have
много
one
штук
with
и
such
сделать
great
с другой мотивацией.
difficulty.
Это
Life and
не
rich,
будет
sorry,
великим даром.
lives and rich, they have one with such
И дальше
difficulties.
говорится, что бодхисаттвы
So
преподносят
life is
лишь
talking
свои
about the body
жизни и
and the
богатства,
life.
обретенные с трудом,
It's
в
not
итоге
they
бесполезны.
not gain easily. You know, body and life.
Вот Лама говорит, что
Bodhisattva's
жизнь и
body and
богатство
life,
не
let's
обретаются
say,
легко.
through the
Они
great
это обретаются с
accumulation
помощью
of
многих
merit.
трудностей,
So
с
it's
помощью
also that
больших
merit is
заслуг.
accumulated with a difficulty, not easy way. So that
И
reason
очень
is
сложно
said
накопить эту заслугу,
rich.
чтобы
They have
жизнь и
one
богатство.
with such great difficulties. So it's like you know, when we said our human life, it's not come easily.
И
In
вот
our
даже
past
наша
life,
драгоценная человеческая жизнь тоже
accumulate great amount of merit. Those amount of
мы
merit
получили благодаря
accumulated with the difficulty, not just only easy way or simple way. So life,
каким-то
even
легким и
it's
понятным
really
путем.
difficultly gain, they can Bodhisattva can easily can give them
И
if
бодхисаттвы
somebody
легко
really
дают,
need.
отдают это
So how
жизнь и
difficult to
богатство.
life is it? You can example how difficult to do good deed. How difficult to, like if you try to do every day, try to some kind of like a, you know, meditation or every day some
Лама
kind
говорит, что
of
понять,
practice.
насколько трудно, попробуйте каждый день
How difficult it is.
медитировать.
It's not easy, you
И делать
know.
это на постоянной
But
основе.
then when you try to do meaningless things, it's really easily goes. Yeah. So it's just like doing a good deed. It's not easy. You have to sacrifice lots of things, time, effort, you know, and many sacrifice.
Так что для того,
You have to
чтобы получить
accumulate the
хорошее,
merit. That
нужно
way we
сделать
get the life and
многие
body.
пожертвовать и обрести
So
заслугу.
that body and life, even Bodhisattva, is really difficultly found. It's easily can give
даже
when
для
somebody
бодхисаттв
need.
тяжело
Then
будет найти
richness means they talk about the wealth. No, I think pretty much everybody knows accumulating wealth is not easy.
И Лама еще раз говорит о том, что
Accumulation of wealth need great effort.
Что, например, обрести много богатства, это сложно, это все понимают, да?
Difficult to voice essence.
И дальше в тексте говорится о том, что все эти блага и богатства были обретены с трудом, но в итоге бесполезны.
Make sense? So when Bodhisattva give the material body wealth, it can say exhaust, yeah. It's what it means the void essence or no essence. Even that kind of, you know, material they can give easily, no need mention their
Лама еще раз повторяет это содержание текста, да, где говорится о том, что все эти жизни богатства, хотя и
vast dharma benefit being in everywhere. So like they,
в конечном счете бесполезны.
you know, so that kind of material really difficult to do, and when you give you know, if you have one piece, you have no problem to giving bodhisattva. Then there's no need to mention about giving dharma. Why is it easy and material? Is a reason is a there's a found not that great difficulty. Dharma is not found difficulty. You don't need to sacrifice too much on the receiving dharma teachings.
И вот,
You know,
ну, они не
compared
только
to
но
the
еще
wealth
говорится,
and
что стоит ли говорить о том, что они дают
life,
обширную
dharma
дхарму,
is
которая
much
всегда
easier
полезна.
to can
Обретена без
get because
больших
you don't need
усилий,
that
не
much
истощается,
sacrifice.
а
You don't need
возрастает,
that much
щедро
put
даруемая.
effort. Difficult, not like that. Not that
И вот Лама говорит о
difficulty.
том, что дхарма, в
And
отличие от
so that
богатства,
way is
для
not
второго
difficulty. And even when
легче
give
получить,
away
как говорится в тексте, без
entirely
больших
grow
усилий.
and
И когда
inexhaustibly. It means that
делимся
more
дхармой,
you give
и
the
Бодхисаттва
dharma,
делится
actually you
дхармой,
learn
то
more.
она не
So
иссякает.
I
И Лама говорит,
myself
что чем больше
experience,
вы
you know,
даете дхармы,
I
тем больше вы
stayed
даете
in the
сами.
school,
И вот
like monastery school, like I think
Лама говорит, что вот он
one
сам
monastery
учился в
5 years
монастыре,
and
да,
there are
что он
4
больше
years, and I
узнал даже не во
graduate.
время обучения,
And after
а
that,
во
I
время
taught
того, когда
5
он
years
сам
in the
учил дхарму.
Dehradun in the monastery. So when I compare my learning from my school time and when I was teachings, it's huge different.
И вот
Actually,
Лама
I
говорит, что
learned
большая разница
more
между тем,
when
что
I
он
was
учитель,
teaching.
будучи учеником, и тем, что
Make
он
sense?
смог понять, так сказать, будучи когда он был
So that way,
преподавателем уже.
when you give dharma teaching, actually your knowledge is a kind of increase.
И
So
когда
I
вы
need to
учите
share the
дхарму, то,
text.
по сути, ваше знание возрастает. Да,
I
то
need
есть
really
приумножается,
mindfulness.
и вы ничего не теряете.
So I should have joined on Zoom and
Yeah, okay. So here, now, it said, if satisfies the bodhisattva joyously and
Нам еще раз читали это
forever give
полностью.
away immense gift
Стыки
of being
всегда
who
с большой
suffer,
радостью дают
the
страдающим существам
lives
великий
and
дар.
rich they
Своей жизни
have
богатство,
won
которых
under
страдают,
such
но в
great
итоге
difficulty,
бесполезные.
and
Так
yet
стоит ли говорить, что
devoid
они
of the
всегда совершают
essence.
даяние,
Need
обширную
no
дхарму,
mention their
которая всегда полезна
unstintingly giving
всем
of the
существам,
vast dharma
обретена без
that
больших
benefit
усилий,
beings
и не
in
истощается, а
every way.
возрастает, даже щедро
So
дарует.
this is also benefit beings everywhere. Mean that when dharma share, not just only this life benefit, the other sentient being benefit in this life, make
Вот
everything is much
Лама говорит о том, что
easier,
когда
you know,
делится дхармой,
less
то это
suffering
приносит благо
with the
и тому, кто делится,
samsara,
и
and
тем, с кем
also give
делится, не
you,
только в
you
этой
know,
жизни, но и
in
в
next
будущей.
life better, brighter rebirth. So that way,
И
everywhere is talking about that
когда
this
делится
life,
дхармой, то это дает дар
next
в будущей
life,
жизни тебе,
and
уже
also
перерождение.
mundane and super mundane benefit you can get
И
from the
дает тебе
dharma, which is not cannot
преимущество
get
в
from the
повседневной жизни
material.
с
You know,
зрения
material
дхармы.
gift is the only benefit for this life. Materialistic gift is the only benefit
И
in the
Лама напоминает,
samsara,
что
mundane way.
материальные дары,
Cannot
они лишь в
benefit of the
повседнevной жизни, в этой
nirvana.
жизни
Make sense?
значения,
So
но
that reason
на
is
протяжении многих
everywhere is
жизней лишь
talking
имеет
about
смысл
like
духовно накопленные блага.
every benefit many different way. Then found with no difficulty, and even when give away entirely grows inexhaustibility. So dharma is a, so that's the reason Bodhisattva, you know, even they have a really
Вот Лама считает, что
difficulty, and when you
дхарма
give, you no
полезна
longer
всем
have
существам,
anymore.
полезна без больших
Even
усилий
that kind of
и не
situation, they have no
истощается, а
problem to
возрастает
give
даже
away.
щедрой
They
даром.
no need to mention about the dharma, because
Поэтому
whenever dharma
Лама
is
просто
more
нет
you give, more you gain.
смысла
Yeah, so that way no need to mention
жалеть
about
о том, что вы учите дхарму,
Okay.
даете дхарму. Это наоборот ваше
Now
имущество
here,
примножается духовно.
teaching said because it's not known by oneself. Lord
Второй
Buddha did
стих.
not teach the
Бхагаван не
dharma.
объяснял сути
This is a
духовной дхармы.
knowing by oneself is maybe not good translation. It's talking about the self-awareness. It's talking about the ultimate nature.
И
So this
в данном случае имеется в виду, что Будда не
wisdom
объяснял то, что
awareness,
постиг сам.
wisdom of self-awareness,
То
which
есть
is
это мудрость самоосознавания.
only you can gain through the practice and realization.
И такую
Make
мудрость вы
sense?
можете получить
That
только
one
через практику
Buddha cannot
реализации.
teach dharma.
Поэтому Будда не мог
That is
учить.
it. Buddha cannot. There's no way to can teach. Why? Because when Buddha is teaching, Buddha have to use the word and
Для своих учений Будда использовал слова.
I mean the word. Word is based on the mundane conceptual. The language,
Слова
word and
базируются на
expression is a
концепциях
mundane conceptual. Mundane conceptual cannot explain the ultimate nature.
повседневные
For that
концепции никогда
reason,
не могут
Buddha
объяснить
did not
то, что
teach the
относится к
Dharma. This here is talk about what Dharma did not teach is the ultimate nature, an absolute reality. So that reason, Rahul, Buddha's son, when he prays to the Panchanaparamita, said, beyond the thought and expression. The Panchaparamita is beyond the thought and expression. Because if there's anything as a thought and expression, it had to be relative, not absolute. So if you read the Shantideva's Why Buddha Sadhu Contract, he said absolute isn't beyond the expression, because expression is relative. So that is talk about, because it's known by oneself, means that because it's known by own awareness. Soso is a self-awareness. I think this is better than know by oneself. Or know by oneself means that only through your own realization, no one can explain you, no one can give you that knowledge. Because when come to the ultimate, only you have to gain by yourself.
И когда мы подходим к такой последней истине, к реализации, то это только то, что мы можем постичь сами. Нет смысла это объяснять.
If you read, it said, Keho, this is the Rari Yishi. Keho din Rari Yishi, Nangile, the Yichimis, Tilungani, Rangi, the Shepherds. Then he hit the settled to the Naroba. So basically said, marvelous. This is the self-awareness.
И вот это вот самоосознавание.
Dilu cannot give you any teachings.
И нельзя
because it's beyond the
потому что он за пределами
expression, vocal expression and mental conceptual. If you want to be known, you have to, you have to examine it yourself. Then Tiluba hit to the center to the Naroba's forehead, and Naroba really, pass out. And when he wake up, then he had a total realization of the Mahamudra. So if you read the Kagyu Mahamudra, also that word is there. Maybe my translation is really rocky, but if you read the Kagyu Mahamudra, you will find that exactly the word. So that reason here is saying is Lord Buddha did not teach the absolute reality of Dharma.
Говорится о том, что Будда не учил.
Then, okay, if Buddha not give teaching, and our main goal is that self-awareness, wisdom of self-awareness, and Buddha did not give teachings, then how we get it? So then here it says, yet with the breadth of the teaching, rationally explain, is relatively explain in the embodiment of the compassion, like the Python. So Python is a hypothetical example. They're saying there's one Python so big, when it is sleep, what called water, mouth water, drool come out, and it just look like a river. And many small animal goes there, try to get the water from there. And because that is not water, and it is stuck with that. And when they breathe in, all the animal go inside his mouth. They say there's one example. So, draw being into the path, setting them perfectly to the mouth of totally peace. So this is an example, is the huge pattern when sleep, mouth water come out, and other animal think that is the river. When they try to go to get water from the river, and they are stuck in his this, I don't know, Tibetan called the kaju, water, for water from the mouth. When he breathe in, and that water and all the animal who stuck with that, everything goes to his mouth. So similarly,
этот образ этого питона,
Buddha's
да,
compassion,
который таким
embodiment of
подобным образом
compassion,
мысли живых существ.
and
Подобным образом
he
сострадание
water
Будды.
draw like relative teachings, all the relative teachings, and bring to the mouth of a totally peace to the
И вот
nirvana.
Будда использует с помощью
Make
различных
sense?
относительных
So
учений,
what
привлекающих
he's saying
существ,
is
подобно этим питонам,
absolute is beyond the
полностью
concept
втягивают в
of
пасть.
explanations. You know, no one can teach the absolute reality. So,
И он использует относительные учения, потому что абсолютно
how
нельзя.
we can gain ordinary being to the absolute nature is
Но как мы
by
привлечем
relying
обычное
on
живое существо к
the
абсолютному учению?
teachings, rational explained, which is the relative.
Надо использовать
Make
относительное
sense?
учение для этого.
So, like a rational explained of the teaching is talking about the 12, what called the 12 branch of the Dharma teachings. I think 12 branch. Yeah, so 12 branch of the Dharma teaching. We already talk about the investigation of the Dharma. On the,
напоминает то, что мы ранее
there's
сказали.
two kind of
Исследование
investigation.
Дхармы, там 12 ветвей Дхармы.
Teaching of the what called the literature and Dharma as a literature and Dharma as a realizations. Dharma as a literature, or India already talk about those 12
И там вот была
branch
Дхарма
of
как
the
учение,
Dharma
как
teaching,
литература,
and
Дхарма как реализация.
3 baskets.
И
So,
три
so
корзины,
through the
да?
3 baskets of 12 branch
С
of the
помощью
teaching,
трех корзин
Buddha's, that is a
Будда
relative truth, relative. Make sense?
использует
So that
относительное
way
учение
can
для
get to
привлечения живых
the
существ.
peace, totally peace of Nirmanakaya or Dharmakaya through the breathe up of the relative.
он,
So
значит,
totally peace, which is Dharmakaya, is the absolute nature. So how to
вот
you
таким
can
образом
gain is
Организатор
a
тексте постепенно
absolute
тянет
nature is
впасть покоя,
through
то есть
the
Дхармакая,
by
совершенно
following
чистую
of the
состояние
path
природы.
of the
То есть таким
you
образом
know,
речь идет о том, что с помощью относительных учений
like
Будда притягивает
I
живых
think it's
существ
easier.
к
People
абсолютному
say
учению.
eight
Да?
noble path. It's easier, yeah, by following to the eight noble path and reach to the absolute peace, totally peace of the Dharmakaya. So the pattern's mouth is a Dharmakaya. And the water is
Лама
a
говорит, что таким
relative
образом пасть
teaching,
питона
like
Дхармакая.
a eight noble path. When he breathe in, is a compassion. Through the compassion, they breathe in, then essentially being followed to the water of the eight noble path to reach to the absolute nature of Dharmakaya.
И он позволяет этим живым
So that
существам
reason,
достичь таким
we have
образом
to rely
абсолютного.
on the relative teachings. Without the relying on the relative teaching, there's no way to get to the absolute nature. Because sometimes people say, no need to study, just meditate.
Иногда люди говорят, что не нужно ничего
No need
учить,
to
нужно только
learn.
медитировать. Не надо ничего учить.
So its answer is here. Next one.
Дальше идет ответ на этот тезис.
So said. Then utterly pure. So utterly pure means that this Dharmakaya is free from true obscurations.
И
So
дальше
that they're
говорится в
completely
тексте,
pure.
что
So it's
покой
called
Дхармакая совершенно чистый, бескрайний и общий для всех Будд, и нескончаемый.
I don't know what is. Okay.
Лама уточняет кое-что по английскому переводу.
absolute pure. I think this is pure. Then vast. Why is a vast? Because the Dharmakaya is also with the quality of the like 10 power.
И вот, как говорится в стихе, Дхармакая также является бескрайней.
For fearlessness and that such that kind of qualities. So that we call the vast and common. Common to talk about this Dharmakaya is common to all the Buddha.
И в данном случае имеется, что под общим, что Дхармакая является чем-то общим для всех.
And is it inexhaustible.
И нескончаемое.
You know, effortless. You know, so that is that kind of quality. Totally peace of Dharmakaya is this kind of quality. So this quality of the totally pure, vast, common, and inexhaustible Dharmakaya is can gain. That is ultimate nature, ultimate you know, self-awareness. That is can gain through the relative level of a Eight Noble Path. Make sense? Now, consequently,
значит, созерцать практикую йогу не бесполезно.
Consequently, like the results of. Due to that, this happens.
No practitioners' meditation is pointless,
значит,
and thus
созерцать
neither
практикую
are the
йогу
teaching
не бесполезно.
the Sugata
Значит, учение
pointless.
Сугат не бесполезно.
So what he's saying is it
И что же имеется в виду, когда говорится о
practitioners' meditation is pointless? No, pointless, not pointless. Why? Because this
почему же медитация не бессмысленна?
self-awareness,
Потому что есть
as it can
самоосознавание,
gain
мудрость,
only through the meditation.
которую
Make
можно
sense?
получить только через
That way,
медитацию.
practitioners' meditation is not pointless. Have a point
И
or meaning.
поэтому созерцание
And neither are the teaching of the Sugata as a pointless. It
и
means that
учение Сугат не
without
бесполезно.
relying on the Sugata's Eight Noble Paths teaching, or through a branch of the Dharma, without the relying on them, no one can meditate. So that way, both are not the point. Both have reasons. Like Gaboba said, without the learning Dharma, meditation is a source of ignorance. You know, and without the practicing, learning Dharma is become is a kind of like a bad habit, like know everything but couldn't follow anything. So the reason both is necessary.
Поэтому и
Meditation have
медитация,
a point,
и изучение
and Sugata's teaching have a
одинаково
point. Both.
важно. Поскольку
So
практика
basically,
неполная, если мы будем
saying
медитировать без учения,
you need
учить без медитации.
learn Dharma. Learning Dharma is not good enough. You have to meditate. You have
И
to
только учить Дхарму
practice.
недостаточно, нужно
But
медитировать.
without the practice, you cannot meditate. So that way, if one could see the meaning
Но без практики
simply
нельзя
by
медитировать.
listening, there would be no point of meditating.
И дальше говорится,
If you
если бы
see the
смысл
true
присутствия
nature of the
постигали
absolute
Дхарму,
through just
созерцание
by
будет
hearing,
бесполезно.
teaching, you know, they don't need to be meditated.
И
But
тогда,
it's
это тут здесь
impossible
очевидно,
by
да,
just
что
literally
медитация нужна лишь потому, что само по
explanation,
себе
through the
слушание
explanation,
не
to can
помогает
get to the
постичь смысл
essence of the
присутствия.
point of essence. So that reason Mitiba said, even the middle way path cannot show the absolute complete, only can show the halfway. Because the middle way path is talking about the Madhyamika teachings. Madhyamika teaching is also expression.
когда речь идет о
vocal
срединном
expression.
пути, это
From
не
the
значит, что
vocal
это
expression
более легкий
cannot
путь.
get to the absolute point.
И
So that way,
слова
only
не
listening
могут
cannot
напрямую
gain
привести к
complete
пониманию абсолюта.
or a depth of the true meaning. Make sense? So it is a need of meditation, not just only learning. If one could practice meditation without having lesson, there would be
Дальше
no
говорится,
point of teaching.
что без медитации, без слушания не было смысла учения. Учение было бесполезно. То есть здесь подразумевается обратная ситуация.
Reason is a absolute result of a dharmakaya. Is a main cause of that one is a profound meaning and method of a path, unmistaking method. I can say unmistaking method of the
Итак,
transmission
способ
of
достижения
teachings.
дхармака — это
Those two profound and unmistaking method of transmission teaching through the hearing, contemplate, meditation. And by that, following that path, and this self-awareness, wisdom will achieve the Dharmakaya. So that reason, need both of them. Meditation is a necessity, and teaching is a necessity. So that way, when many sutra or teachings they mention and about in the Buddhism, we said three wisdoms: wisdom from the hearing, wisdom from the contemplate, and a wisdom from the meditation. This has to be order. You cannot go first meditation, then hearing. Yeah? You cannot go first contemplation, then hearing. You have to go hearing first. After the hearing means that you have to receive the teaching from the other. Then you can contemplate on that. Once you contemplate is a bring you to the confident. Once you have the confidence, then you have to put effort to actualize that through the meditation, realize. So that way, it said, first, relying teacher as a guru. Second, relying teacher as a book. Ultimately, relying teacher as your own guru. So those also have to come order. So same as three wisdoms: hearing, contemplate, meditation. Without the hearing, if you try to meditate, then nothing comes. That reason, Kambaba said, if you not learn, try to meditate. Without the learning, try to meditate, and then it becomes source of ignorance.
Будете пытаться медитировать, это будет источник ваших ошибок, вашего невежества. То есть медитировать без изучения дхармы.
Even the symbol of the for immeasurable, for example, for immeasurable. Like we know what is love, we know what is joy, we know what is compassion. But most of people misunderstand the equanimity. So lots of people think equanimity means no attachment and no hatred. Yeah, that is equanimity. Just not having attachment and no hatred is not equanimity. If that is just that symbol, that one is equanimity, then earth have a greatest equanimity. Because earth never distinguishing, this is high, this is low. The earth never said this is rich, this is poor. Make sense? Like when you're driving on the road never behave different way when you're driving expensive car or when you're driving cheap car.
Лама приводит пример, что такое разница.
They equally behave to you.
На дорогой машине или на дешевой.
Similarly, all the elements have that attitude. Then they have a great equanimity. So this is not about that one. Equanimity means that you have to have equal loving compassion toward every sentient being. Same way here, meditation is not talking about that stop thinking. Meditation means that actualizing. You have to actualize something that you have to meditate. If you
А медитация на самом
don't
деле
have
актуализация
anything in your
того, о чем вы
mind,
думаете.
you have nothing to base of the mindfulness, there's nothing to
Если
actualize.
вы ни о чем
Make sense?
думаете,
So
вы
that
можете
reason,
это
here,
осознать. Что мы будем осознавать в тех,
contemplate,
которые в течение
meditation, they have to
таких
be
мыслей.
ordered. So that reason here, Buddha Vidriya is a hearing have a point, learning have a point, and meditation have a point. Both have a point equal. Because without the hearing, no one can meditate.
Вот здесь как раз говорится
And without the meditation, no one reach to the
медитации
astral
нельзя
nature.
что-то изучать, а без изучения нельзя медитировать. Об этом говорится в тексте.
Okay, this time I remember. Now, how to give the teachings? The teaching of the Supreme Bodhisattva occur through the transmission, realization, and
Величайшие герои
masters.
учат.
So here, Bodhisattva
на
have a different level of a
выслушанном
Bodhisattva. Some are ordinary
Есть разные
Bodhisattva,
уровни
like a
Bodhisattв.
path of the accumulation, a path of the application. Those Bodhisattva, they don't have it themselves as a total realization. So
Не у всех
give Dharma
бодхисаттв есть
teaching through the
полная
transmission.
реализация.
What is the transmission? Because a lot of people think transmission means just somebody read, then you receive the
И они
transmission.
передают учение через наставление.
Transmission means the explain.
Наставление это
Transmission
означает
means
что-то
that
объяснить.
just explain what it means.
Передачу.
That is really transmission.
Вот это настоящая передача. Когда мы что-то
If you just
объясняем.
read and you have no idea what they're reading, but you said, "Oh, I received the transmission." You don't receive that transmission.
И Лама говорит о том, что если мы что-то слушаем, мы
You
не понимаем,
receive
что
through the
слушаем.
reading blessings. Actually, transmission is you have to transmit. Transmit? Yeah, from A to B. How to transmit is
И
it
по
by
сути,
learning,
передача
by
это
knowing,
есть, да,
not just
передача,
reading.
то есть то, чего мы
Especially
достигаем
when
с
you just
помощью
somebody read
изучения.
the Tibetan and you receive the transmission, you receive the oral transmission, not receive the transmission of the text.
И вот когда, например, на тибетском языке вы слышите передачу,
So lots of
вы
people think
получаете неслышную
transmission means
передачу. Но нужно еще
just somebody read the fast and I receive the transmission. Here, transmission means talking about just explanation. Why is called the transmission? Because those Bodhisattva, ordinary Bodhisattva, they're not giving teaching based on their own realization. They're giving teaching from what they heard from their guru, what they learned from the book.
И
Based on
вот другие бодхисаттвы не всегда обучают тому,
So
чему
that way
они
it's
сами
called the
создали.
transmissions.
Они часто
Then once Bodhisattva reached
передают
to the
то, что они
first
от
to
других
second
получили.
they have a total realizations. So they themselves have actualizing or realizing the ultimate nature of suchness. Once they realizing and they giving the teaching based on their experience.
И когда они достигают высоких уровней, то они могут дать учение, так сказать, которое базируется на их опыте.
Like a Miller was all the Vajra songs. Based
Это
on
как
his
вот
own
Махасидки
there's some part is a transmission. He received from the Marba and he shared to the other. That's a transmission.
Вот, например, то, что
He
Милария
learned from
узнал
the
от Марпы
Marba.
и делился с
Then
другими
some
живыми
part is
существами,
his
это передача.
own experience put on the Vajra song. That is
Но часто
called
он
the realization.
вкладывал и
Both giving
свой
teachings.
личный опыт. Это тоже был, так сказать, передача реализации его.
Okay, then master is from after the 8th bhumi. They master over all the elements.
Вот Будда,
So they can give any elements
получает реализацию это с
teachings.
8-го бхуми.
Like from the mouth. From the mouth is talking about their own mouth or others' mouth. You know, those Bodhisattva and those Buddha or Bodhisattva Buddha, they can make other blessed to other to can talk that what they want. Like when Shakyamuni Buddha was meditating on the profound samadhi, and through his blessing, Shariputra gave the teaching of the Heart Sutra.
И вот Лама говорит о том,
Make
что
sense?
Будды
So that because of the Shariputra have, I mean, the Avalokiteshvara have this
заставили,
all
как дать
power to
возможность
give
другим
teachings.
говорить от их
Through the blessing of the
лица,
Buddha,
давать
he
учение с
that's the
помощью
master over the other's mouth.
Да, то есть
That
вложить
is
как бы
only
свои слова в рот другого человека.
Form of every kind, so all the elements. Water can
И,
give
вот,
teachings.
и об этом говорится в тексте, да, что
air
величайшие
can give
герои
teachings,
учат,
earth give
опираясь на
teachings,
прослушивание
you know,
наставления,
tree can
собственное
give
постижение
teachings.
или владение недискурсивной
All the
мудростью.
element
Соответственно,
can
звуки
get,
учения могут
by using
исходить
that
изо рта,
element, can
из
give
любых форм
teachings.
и
Those
пространства.
bodhisattva. Like eight above, master means the overpower. because they are master over the non-conceptual wisdom and omniscience, you know. So that reason they can perform this one. Then from the space, issue forth. So even the space, they can give the teachings.
Вот, из любых форм и пространства. Это значит, что
So they
бодхисаттвы
can use all the
могут
elements
находиться в любом
and give
пространстве.
teachings, not just only mouth, not just only their mouth. They can use others' mouth. They can use
Они могут
others'
использовать
elements,
человека
all sound, basically any
или
sound.
другие там
They
сферы
can
тела
use,
или
they become a part
элементы и
of the
так
Dharma
далее.
teachings.
Все это может стать
So there's
учением дхармы.
these three different way of giving. Ordinary
Для этого как раз есть
bodhisattva,
три
they
разных
transform,
пути передачи.
transmission means that whatever they
Обычные
receive
бодхисаттвы
from the
дают передачу
Buddha
устно,
and the
да, то есть
Guru,
они
whatever they
передают не
receive
только то, что
teaching, they
будут
share
в
to the
своем
other.
опыте, но и то, что им
That what
обучают
they
другие
receive,
будут
what they
бодхисаттвы.
learn here. And realization is their own experience through their
Реализация – это передача
meditation.
своего собственного
After the
опыта.
bodhisattva who reached to the first bhumi, to seven bhumi. Then after the eighth bhumi, because they have a
И после восьмого бхуми
realization of the non-duality, now they
они,
can use anything,
они могут использовать
any
любые
object
способы передачи.
for the teaching. So that
Они
we
могут
call them
использовать любой объект для
masters.
учения.
So those bodhisattva said extensive means that because they receive many teachings,
Дальше в
so that
следующем
way they
стихе
can
говорится,
give
что
many different type of teachings.
обширное
Extensive.
учение,
Doubt, dispellings.
обширное,
So
избавляющее
because
от
since
сомнений,
themselves
достойное
free from the
принятия и
doubt,
разъясняющее два
anyone have a
предмета.
doubt, they can
Учение
dispel.
бодхисаттв, знаете, является совершенным.
It's like when you receive in teachings, if the guru is himself or herself is not completely free from doubt, they cannot give you the clear answer. When they are totally free from their completely from the doubt, they can give you clear answer when you ask question. So that's called doubt, dispelling. Yeah. Then acceptable means that themselves, teacher themselves live according to the Dharma. So whatever they say is acceptable.
Достойное принятие, это говорится о том, что тот, кто придает, сам живет согласно своим
both natures. So the indicator of the both natures, the nature of the samsara and the nature of the nirvana, they can give to the, like a Buddha give the Four Noble Truth. First truth is a truth about the samsara. The last truth is a truth about the nirvana. So they can give the both some nature of samsara and nature of nirvana. And this is a bodhisattva teaching is said to be perfect. This kind of teaching have to be perfect. Extensive, can dispel the doubt, acceptable, indicated the both samsara and nirvana. Makes sense? That kind of bodhisattva, good quality, then they can give the. That's a can say perfect teacher. Excellent teacher, qualified teacher, whatever you say these days, people need. The Dharma teaching of the Supreme Bodhisattva is gentle. This Bodhisattva, so why is it gentle?
Почему мягко? Потому что
even somebody debate with you,
даже
say,
если спорить с вами,
when you explain it, you still talk really gently. Like ordinarily, when we debate, it's heat, sometimes become a little bit harsh each other. But truly realize in Bodhisattva, no matter how harsh or arrogant or how stupid the question come, they really give the really compassion.
вежливо.
anyone
Да,
asks,
какие бы
know,
вопросы ни
so they have a
задали.
enough patience. We lose our patience,
Значит,
you
что
know, when the
удовлетворить
people do lots of
достаточно
this
терпения.
kind of arrogant way or stupid way.
Без
What did
своих
people lose? They are
кичливости
patient,
или
but
усталости.
Bodhisattva, they don't lose. So that way, it's called the gentle, free from conceit. It means that when you give teachings, when somebody said, wow, you're a wonderful teacher, they not become arrogant.
И это также означает, что
When
когда
somebody praise you,
учение, то
so when somebody criticizes you,
гордиться,
you
быть
still gentle
самонадеянным.
with them. When somebody praise you, not conceit,
То есть
not become arrogant.
все спокойно.
Then no matter how long
Раньше
and how
не
many times
гордитесь
you
собой.
give teaching, you never
И
feel tired.
неважно,
This
сколько раз
is,
вы
I think,
говорите,
mostly talk about the mentally
чувствуете, что у вас нет
tiredness.
усталости. Здесь, конечно, речь идет прежде
No,
всего
not physically. Of
ментальной,
course,
умственной
physical body
усталости.
is all as everyone's physical body is built by the element. You can get tired, but this is mostly emotionally. You never feel like tired.
И вот,
No,
конечно,
no
тело
matter.
может устать, но вот эмоционально, с точки
Clear.
зрения ума
Now,
не
whatever
может
you
быть
give
уставшим.
answer, because of the your understand and realization is perfect, so that way
Учение
you
надо
can give the
давать ясно,
clear
поскольку
teachings and
понимает,
diversified.
реализовал его. Разнообразно давать учение.
Diversified means the many different way to explain.
То есть давать, объяснять
Variety of
по-разному,
many different way, not just only said, okay, this one, you know.
не только
Then
одним путем.
rational is logical, reasonable.
С помощью логики.
You know, in the
Логично.
Buddhism, that's important. When anyone gives you teaching, you can argue with them.
И в
Even Buddha
буддизме считается
himself said,
приемлемым.
if I say something that's
спорить.
not really logical and reasonable, you can reject my
И
teachings.
даже Будда говорил, что если я скажу что-нибудь алогичное или
That was Buddha said, my teaching is like, you know, the goldsmith checking the gold is real or not. They have a, you know, there's some particular material they can check is pure gold or not. You know, these days of science, they make the, you know, so like that you can examine it, said, because my teaching is not for the respect, my teaching is for the practice. Because if you want to practice, you have to make sure you understood correctly, and you have to make sure it's common sense. In the Buddhism, it's a logical, reasonable, common sense is important. So that reason said rational. In intelligibles. Intelligible is talking about when that teacher give teaching, say use the word that's commonly using. Because sometimes some teacher uses some high vocabulary which normally nobody use. I see some translator English, they try to use a really fancy word. The problem is when you use in the fancy word, only few people understand. Because majority is not educated like that.
И большинство людей
and
не
you want to
образованы.
show up your intelligence and to use a really fancy word.
Свои собственные знания, использовать какие-то сложные конструкции.
Then it's not reach to the common people. So you have to use, when you're giving teachings, common word.
То есть использовать надо
One
простыми
of the
словами
Tibetan scholars said, best poem is that anyone can read and anyone can understand. That's the best poem.
Один из тибетских монахов, ученых, говорил, что самый лучший
Best writer can
тот,
do that
который
one.
можно
So
легко понять
intelligible
и
mean that one.
принять.
Disinterested mean the not seeking reward, payment.
И учения даются,
You
то есть,
know,
когда мы не
offering.
ищем какой-то награды, да, бескорыстно дается, как говорится в тексте. То есть учение даруемое бескорыстно.
Because when we give in Dharma teaching, we're not in the market.
Поскольку когда мы даем учение Дхармы, мы не на рынке, мы не торгуем.
These days, if you have some people saying, you know, I heard that one. Some people saying, if you have a money, you can get teaching any teaching you want.
И Лама говорит, что люди говорят о том, что если у вас есть деньги, вы можете
interest, some interest they have. Because Bodhisattva, they have no interest themselves. That was disinterest.
Почему учение
They're
дается
not looking,
бескорыстно?
they're
Поскольку
not
у бодхисаттв
seeking
нет
any reward,
интереса к себе,
any
поэтому
return.
их не интересует награда.
And universal. Universal means that can give the, any label of a person, listener, based on their label, like a Sharvaka label, Pratigya label, Bodhisattva label, any vehicle, according to their mental capacity, can
Это
give
означает,
that
что
way.
учение приложимо для всех слушателей, неважно на какой ступени.
Bodhisattva words are not faint. It means that Bodhisattva word is some can understand,
Дальше
but
говорится
some
слова
cannot understand. Not
проповедей
such thing
победителя,
like that.
ясно слышимые.
Yeah?
Everyone can understand.
Yeah. So that way it's called a perfect word, excellent word. And they are blessings. Why they are
Они
blessings? Because they,
благозвучны.
Can understand. And when you understand, when you,
То есть их легко понять, приятно
слушать. So that way
слушать.
they are blessings. Well expounded. I mean, they
Невыразительные.
perfectly explained.
То есть очень хорошо объяснены,
Yeah,
хорошо
well
выражают свои
expounded
значения.
and conventionally. Conventionally mean the common word.
И славные.
That through the common word to reach to the other. They are appropriate. What is the appropriate? Mean the according to the mental disposition.
То есть они даны в соответствии с умственной предрасположенностью слушателя.
Some people, they are not ready to receive certain teaching, shouldn't give.
То есть там говорят о том, что
so that reason, some of those high teachings is not public teachings.
Поэтому многие из наиболее высших учений
it have to happen
не
through
учения для широкой публики.
Through the training to make sure they are maturable.
И поэтому очень важно обучение
easily misunderstand.
Может их освоить, кто их правильно поймет, не ошибется в их интерпретации.
Must give that is appropriate to according to that individual's mental capacity. So appropriate, free of material motivated. This is same as a disinterest.
Дальше говорится о том, что они также бескорыстны.
So they have no material offering. They don't have any return reward, any kind of so that way they have no material motivated. Moderate is mean the like a regional, and likewise abundant. Yeah. So moderate is talking about just briefly explanations. Some people is easier to understand the briefly, short teachings, simple teachings. But then some need really like a detailed explanations. And for them to explain more detail.
Кратко учат и подробно разъясняют.
Make sense? So that's both need because there's lots of different type of listeners. Some listener, if you try to explain detail, they get confused and they lost. And your teaching not going to benefit from them. If you try to abbreviate, they already know that abbreviate is not going to benefit for them. So some need just abbreviate is good enough. So should give teaching as appropriately. Brief, yeah. But some need more detailed explanation. Must explain detailedly. Yeah. So this is that way is talk about and abundance, because they indicated that likewise the explains. And correspond to be vehicle or pleasurable. So they
Ну
indicate
да, вот
it,
еще раз
and
говорится,
likewise they explain.
значит, прочитаю
And
полностью
the
стих.
indicate is a
Поскольку
kind of
учат,
abbreviate, yeah?
кратко учат и подробно разъясняют,
Does it
особенность
indicate?
колесницы
They,
приятны, известны, соответствуют
I would say
способностям
that's like they
слушателей,
show.
избавляют от сансары и благоприятны.
Okay,
They help others realize.
yeah. So that is what it means that when you moderate is for them, they can understand. But then likewise they explain, and also other can understand more detail. So one is a understood, and one is a kind of like a nyapanye mean the kind of certainty. You know, so certain people just need understanding. Then certain people need more certainty. You know, like
Ну, вот Лама
so
еще
that is
говорил,
what
главный учитель
likewise
считает, что кому-то
explains.
людей нужно больше писания, кому-то
Correspond
меньше.
to the vehicles,
Да, и то, что они согласуются
same
с
as
колесницей,
according to the mental position, and pleasurables.
то, что они
Pleasurable
приятны,
mean
слова
that they're like an
восхищают.
order of the word and meaning are well explained, so that
То есть
way
значит, что
listen
их
easily.
форма очень хорошая, чтобы
When
слушать.
the teacher's explanation or like a
Если речь идет о грамматике,
like
о порядке
one
слов,
language way
о
or
стиле
different way, then
языка,
you couldn't
о том, как говорит
explain
человек.
clearly, orderly, it become hard to listen, not easy. So when you can
Ну и в целом
language
имеется в виду то,
wise,
что легко,
meaning
ясно
wise,
объясняется, тогда
explanation way,
можно нормально слушать.
vocabulary wise, whatever you use a smooth way, orderly and clearly, and it become a pleasure to listen. Make sense? Yeah. So that's have to some kind of pleasurable. Conventional, same, and appropriate, as according to their mental position, lead to the certain deliverance. Lead to the certain deliverance mean the free, can bring to the nirvana, free
Освобождают
from
от
the
сансары.
samsara. So certain deliverance that talking about the nyambarjuma, as liberated them from.
Освобождают
So
от
the
сансары,
teaching
да.
is becoming cause to liberate them.
Таким образом, учение становится причиной освобождения.
Congruent.
И благоприятное учение, слова учения.
Our congruent is talking about similar with the noble path,
Это значит, что они сходны с
Something
благородным путем.
As a syllable uttered by the Supreme Bodhisattva are described as a short and perfect. So this is the how Bodhisattva give
Вкратце можно
teachings.
сказать, что
When
ищем
Bodhisattva give
множественнейших
teachings,
совершенств.
give teachings according to this way. Now, what is a Buddha give teachings? It is different. The speech of the Sugatas is infinities. So Buddha's teaching have no measurement of this much. With the 60 quality
И
is
речь всегда безгранично прекрасна.
inconceivable.
Обладает 60
So Buddha's
достоинствами.
teachings, there's a 60 different type of qualities when
Да,
Buddha
то
gives
есть у него
teachings.
есть 60 благоприятных типов достоинств.
Many different. There's 60 qualities. And it's, yeah.
Are those 60 qualities the same as Manjushri speech?
Yeah, similar like that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, I was trying to look last night. I forgot and distracted.
You were busy.
No. I mean, this there's in the commentary in English one. There all the lists is there, 60 lists. Yeah, but I tried to look. So this one, but inconceivable. Why is it inconceivable? Is because each quality have many subtle or subdivision of qualities.
Речь безгранично прекрасна, потому что
Within each quality,
добродетель имеет какие-то
so
свои
that way it's
подразделы
inconceivable.
многочисленные, поэтому она безгранично прекрасна.
So 60 qualities. I don't have the list right now, so maybe you can search later, or if you have this Mahаяna-sutра commentary that you share me, I think I share some people, then you can see that all the list is there in the commentary.
Там должен быть полный лист всех 60.
Right now I don't have it with me.
I can show.
Yeah. With the word solid reasonings. So Buddhist teaching also with a word. It means that he using like a pillar is impermanent, and this kind of word. So that way, and one is a word, meaning vocabulary, using vocabulary.
И дальше
Solid
говорится,
reasonings.
что Сугаты учат речь
Solid
очень
reasonings.
правильными
When give
словами.
Buddhist teachings, Buddhist teaching is not given based on the faith. Buddhist teaching is given based on the reason, logics.
И
That
все
reason,
учения Будды
no matter
базируются на
how
учении, на логике.
how long goes, Buddhist teaching is always even fresh. No
И
matter
учения
how
Будды всегда
new
свежи, то
knowledge
есть
come, they never become contradictory with the Buddhist teaching. Like right now, it's a
и учение никогда не
science.
противоречит учению Будды.
You know, science, no, like if you really open-minded, learn the science and look the Buddhist teaching, nothing go to the contradictory.
И вот Лама говорит, что, например, если сейчас это есть наука,
Like
да, если мы
only
иногда будем
science is
изучать
a
науку,
little bit
и мы
different. You
сравним с
see,
учением
like
Будды,
science said, brain
то,
is the mind.
то тогда мы увидим,
Because
что
they
нет
not reach
какого-то
to that
противоречия.
level of the mentality. You know,
Но
only
единственное, что наука
they
говорит,
get
что
to the
не
physical
согласна с
level.
буддизмом, это то, что молитва это
But Buddha
да.
taught both
Но
of
в
them.
данном случае это просто
And
означает то, что сама по
like
себе
even the
наука
physical
недостаточно
level,
развита.
scientists only found, called the what called the particle. But Buddha gave them
Вот Лама говорит о том,
much
что
deeper than that.
ученые нашли пока только
not reach
молекулы
there.
и так далее.
Scientists,
Но
they
Будда
have a
продвинулся
long
дальше, в
way to
отличие
go
от них.
to get to the Buddhist level.
И им еще далеко, чтобы достичь, понять, кто
if you
такой Будда, что это
really,
такое.
I'm not saying because we are Buddhism, but if you look this way, now scientists find lots of things new. One or another way, Buddha already taught everything. For me, when there's some scientists found new things and people become like amazed or whatever. Lots of time people talk about this and that. And for me, it's not really that much amazing because I already seen different way, different explanation way about Buddha's the same meaning in the Buddhist teachings.
Это уже все с его точки зрения соответствует учению Будды и не является таким для него абсолютным
Only
сюрпризом.
amazes, wow, Buddha already talked about this one. Now scientists, when they found they said they discover new things, but they never discover new things. Buddha already taught all of those. There's nothing that scientists discovered that Buddha didn't talk.
Будда уже открыл много из того, о чем только наука сейчас.
Even Holiness Dalai Lama said, if scientifically Buddhist teaching is really not true, then we have to accept as a science.
И Будда,
because Buddha's word have to be solid reason. Without a solid reason, you cannot believe.
В таком случае мы должны принять науку, поскольку весь буддизм должен быть построен на четких аргументах.
The way this have to be solid reasons. Brief introduction and detailed explanation. So there's sometimes you're teaching, you see the brief. Sometimes there's a detailed explanation. And lots of teaching actually brief explanation, then detailed teachings. Brief instruction and detailed explanation. You see many teachings. Clearing of the doubt and much repetition.
Многократно наставляя и развивая тех, кто быстро способен понимать, и тех, кто нуждается в
because it is reasonable, because it's logical, and whoever have a doubt can clear. All the doubt can be cleared through the Buddhist teaching. And much repetition is talking about that. It also talk again and again and again different way. Try to explain. So repeat many times, not same word. Many different vocabulary, many different angle. Try to talk like 5, 10 angle way to explain the same meaning. So many repetitions. And for those who understand it, when morally told title or else, this means that somebody who already have a great understanding. For them, just need the learn the titles.
И вот Лама говорит, что для тех, кто быстро
Like,
понимает,
if you are
достаточно
really
короткое
knowledgeable on the
объяснение.
Dharma, when
А
somebody
те, кто
said, oh,
понимает
such and such
тактности,
text,
то
you
для
know
них
what is that
нужны
text.
подробности.
So for them, no need to explain detail. So somebody already have a great knowledge, then just give the titles. Otherwise, from the detailed presentations. It's a detailed presentation mean the, and then some people need more detail.
Лама говорит, что для многих людей нужно
The
более
Buddha
подробное
teach
объяснение.
and their teachings as a pure, free from
Эти
three
8
spheres.
аспектов
No, that is the
изложения
devoid
дхармы
of
чисты,
the
свободны от
8
трех фактов.
faults.
Также нужно знать, что такому изложению чужды 8 недостатков.
Sorry, my Buddha teach that their teachings is a pure.
Итак, учение Будды чисты, да? Учение Будды, то есть дхарма.
Because there's no faults. That way
Поскольку у
pure.
них нет ошибки.
And
Поэтому
free
есть
from
чистота.
three spheres.
И они свободны от трех фактов.
Whom teaching, how teach,
То есть это то, чем излагается
and
дхарма,
to
как
whom
излагается дхарма,
give
и кому
teachings.
излагается дхарма. То есть эти все три не воспринимаются.
And by these three, and it's pure. This pure. Because of the three spheres. Where
И
Buddha is
поскольку
a
эти учения не
complete
разделяют эти
of
три, то они как
non-conceptual,
бы являются
non-conceptuality. Yeah, so that way, free from three spheres, free of three spheres. We have this like, oh, I'm teacher, I'm teaching to this, I'm giving this subject, you know, this kind of conceptual of a sphere. Buddha is free from that conceptual. So that way, free from three spheres.
Вот Лама еще раз говорит, что Будды далеки от того, чтобы
And know that devoid of 8 faults. So Buddha's teaching is a devoid of the 8 faults. Faults, first one is a laziness. There's no involvement of laziness in the Buddha's teaching. Incomprehensibility.
Второй недостаток – это невнятность.
So this 8 faults is incomprehensibility. Yeah, incomprehensibility means the not complete understand. Yeah. So Buddha have not that one. Because Buddha totally understood everything. So that way there's no incomprehensibility. And the failures.
Несвоевременность. Следующий недостаток.
Of the sit time. Failure of the sit time means the like not giving the time to, you know, when somebody requires, not giving to teaching time. Because of the because like a human guru, when you rely teacher, sometimes say, oh, I'm busy, sometimes say, oh, I don't have time, this and that, because they don't share them, but Buddha have not that one. So that is a one false, not setting, failure of the set time. Lack of certainty. Certainty means that when you have a total realization, when you understood completely, you have a certainty. But when you don't have that understanding, then it becomes a lack of certainty. So that's a false. Failure to resolve the doubt, remove the people's doubt. Failure of the stabilizing freedom from the doubt. Even you know, free from the doubt, but you don't make stabilizing them through the many different variety of explanations. So that's also become false. And discouragement is mean that like feel tired, or this is too hard, this is too difficult. And stinginess.
И
like
скупость.
don't want to share their knowledge.
Это когда вот не
These
хотят
are the
делиться
field to be
знанием.
fall to discourse.
Скупость
So
в том, чтобы делиться
this
знанием.
is like if any teacher have
Вот
one
это
of
все,
those
как говорится в
eight,
тексте, это
is
изъяны
called the
проповедования.
one fault of the teachers, because
То
it
есть
is
это
free
изъяны
of
учения,
these.
да, точнее
The
изъяны учения,
Buddha's
прошу прощения,
teaching is
изъяны учителя.
Excelled,
Yeah, unexcelled.
unexcelled. This talk about the unexcelled is
Inconceivable, excellent.
yeah, inconceivable, beyond like compatible. Yeah,
Yeah, nothing can go
Yeah,
further
yeah.
than that.
yeah. So Buddha said these eight faults. Not Buddha is free from laziness, free from
Как значит, получается, что Будда свободен от
incomprehensibility,
лени,
fail of
неверности,
setting time,
своевременности,
lack of
неубедительности,
certainty, failure of
неосуществления
the
сомнений,
resolve, the doubt,
неспособность
failure of the
закрепить свои отсутствие
stabilizing,
эмоций,
and
утомление, скупость.
discouragement, and stinginess. So these eight faults, free from these eight faults, that way Buddha's teaching is in what
Таковы
called
учения Будды, свободны от этих 8.
inconceivable. Yeah, can say inconceivable. Unexcelled. How do I pronounce this?
Unexcelled.
Unexcelled. Because it's in gender, faith, joy, and understanding.
Этот дхарма есть
Dharma is a
в следующих
virtue.
стих. Этот дхарма
So
есть благо,
this is
как
called
служит
the
причиной
Buddha's
веры,
teaching as
радости и
three
постигающей
virtues.
истину ума.
Why
Это
is it in gender
добродетель.
faith? Mean that when you
То есть она становится
listen,
причиной веры. Когда вы слушаете учение,
receiving teaching is the cause to generate the
это
faith.
получение учения
Okay?
помогает
So
породить
that
в
is
себе
called
веру.
the virtue as a beginning, because you receive the faith, and
Поэтому это качество изначально.
and that when that hearing, whatever you much more hear the Buddha's teaching, your faith will increase.
То есть, слушая учение Будды, ваша
So
вера
that is
увеличивается.
one. Then at the contemplate, then you get joy, because you get
Потом, когда вы
certainty.
размышляете над учением, то
Yeah,
вы
through the
обретаете радость.
certainty of the
Поскольку вы
meaning,
обретаете уверенность.
when you contemplate, you get truly joy. Then at the meditation, it's called the understanding. So
Затем через
Dharma is the virtue on the three
медитацию вы
times.
постигаете
Virtue as a
истину.
beginning, virtue as a middle, and a virtue as an end. Like when you read the science fiction books, it gives you the faith, it gives you the joy, but you're not going to give you the understanding, because there's nothing to understand, there's nothing to realize. Like I joke normally, when you read the Harry Potter's book, it gives you the faith or joy. It will give you the joy, it gives you all those, but there's nothing to realize.
И вот Лама
So
говорит,
there's
что
there's
отличие
nothing
учения
meaningful.
Будды от мирских каких-то вещей.
Because
Допустим, вы
no
читаете Гарри
matter
Поттера,
how much you read, you're not becoming it reality.
это приносит вам
Like
не
by
только
reading
радость,
Harry
но с
Potter
другой
book, you're not
стороны,
becoming
порождает
magician.
не веру, не
Make
дает
sense?
какого-то постижения, потому что там нет
So,
чего
but when
постижения,
you read the
вы
Buddha's
постигаете только
teachings,
реальное. Но когда
it
вы
gives you
читаете учение
faith, it
Будды,
gives you joy,
то они дают
and
вам
it
веру,
gives you
радость,
understanding of the
дают
realization.
вам понимание
The
истины,
result will come.
постижение
There's a
истины.
result. So that's the
Возникает
difference.
результат. Да?
Because that reason said virtue as three times. Beginning, and virtue means that something good, and middle and
Есть
conclusion.
добродетель начало, середина и
Most of
результат.
what called the fictional book, can say, like lots of books. Most of like your Times number one sell. Most of they
Мало
have no
пример, что
understanding. Why?
художественная
Because that
литература,
nothing bring to the result.
я говорю, что
By
отличие
reading
от
them, you're
классического
not
смысла, что
becoming
они
what
не такого
they wrote
результата.
the story. But if you read the Buddha's teachings, and you have good chance to have become yourself as the
Но
teacher
если вы
himself.
читаете учение Будды, то вы
That
можете
is
постичь
what is
истину. Да?
understand mean that way 3 times virtue. Dharma is the virtues.
И
Having
то
twofold
Дхарма здесь
meaning
тоже
and
отличие.
easy to retrain. So twofold meaning mean that understand that
И
the meaning of the true truth,
Дхарме свойственны
relative truth,
два
and
вида
absolute truth.
познания, которые
So
легко
twofold
понимать.
meaning
Это
and
относительно
easy
имеется в
to
виду абсолютно.
retrain. Easy to retrain mean that easy to understand because they using common word that everybody using every day.
Да, и то есть и
Make
оба
sense?
эти предмета
So I think
познания относительно
that's
абсолютно легко понять,
important.
потому что они свойственны Дхарме.
So that way, like I noticed in Kenji Rinpoche's translation on the jewel ornament, for example, they use in sometimes Sanskrit word because a certain English needs Sanskrit word, but he always use one English word too there. Not just only left with the Sanskrit word.
Mhm.
Because it is important to make sure people, easy to retrain. Yeah?
Retain.
Retain. The teach pure activity with the four good qualities.
И
So
дальше в
what's
стихе говорится, что
four good quality of the
Дхарма учит
pure
чистой
activities?
практике,
Giving
обладающей
nothing
четырьмя
to
достоинствами.
common with others, having nothing in common with others. It means that if you compare to the Buddhist
Эта Дхарма
teaching
отличается от
and
практики
all
чужих.
other religions, there's nothing common.
Если мы сравним учение Будды с учением
Buddhist
других
teachings
религий,
different.
то они совсем другие. Да, учение
That
Будды
way,
конечно отличается от
actually,
них.
if, open mind one, they become really close to the Buddhist teaching. Why? Because everything is a common sense. Not based on the Buddhist teaching, is not based on the certain culture, certain
И
belief,
учение
certain
Будды
faith.
базируется как бы
No,
на здравом
it's based
смысле,
on
не
the
просто на
logic,
какой-то слепой
reason.
вере или какие-то
So the
предрассудки.
reason is Buddhist teaching is not common with the other religions. If you compare to there's nothing going to be compatible to the Buddhist teaching actually.
И другие религии
Completing
нельзя
the
сказать, что они
elimination
как бы
of the defilement of the three worlds. Worldly dharma, like there's a lots of meditations. The highest is it can get is the peak of the world, samsara, called the formless realms. They cannot go to beyond that. But
И
Buddha's
вот
teaching
эти,
can
благодаря этим
eliminate
учениям, религиям,
all the
можно достичь
defilement.
всего лишь как бы вершины этого социалистического мира, да, там,
Why?
где нет
Because Buddha's
мира без
teaching
форм.
is supported by these two, wisdom and method.
Но учение Будды, поддерживая методы и мудрости,
Or
позволяют
sometimes it's called
выйти за пределы
compassion
сансары.
and emptiness. So because of these two, wisdom
Для них также характерно
and compassion and
сострадание и
emptiness
пустота.
can eliminate the completely defilement of the
И вот они
samsara.
могут
So it
убрать
can
вот эти все
free
загрязнения
from
самсары
samsara.
и освободить от
Naturally pure is because it's talking about the truth. So it's not fabricated wonderful. This is a naturally wonderful, naturally pure. And discontaminating such held to be the pure activity with the four good qualities. It means that discontaminating means the advantage defilement, eliminating all the advantage defilement.
Такими четырьмя достоинствами,
Teaching of the Buddha is naturally pure, but
учение
when
Будды
you
изначально
follow
чисты.
that pure, all the advantage defilement will be eliminated.
И если вы
So
следуете учению
that's
Будды, то
what
все
means the
загрязнения будут устранены тоже, да?
Decontaminating.
Да, это будет как раз то, что говорится об устранении врачей трех сфер.
So this is called the pure activities. It's in the Tibetan word called the Tsangpa. It's a Brahmin, but we just talking about here is pure is talking about the Buddhahood, Dharmakaya. Now, when Buddha gave a teaching, sometimes there's called the indirect teaching giving for the purpose of introducing.
И дальше говорится в другом стихе. Дхарма содержит скрытый замысел.
What is the indirect teaching of the
Что значит скрытый замысел?
for the introducing of the somebody is
Для того,
like some people in the beginning said there's no self, no phenomena, and they couldn't So that way,
То есть, если,
and
например,
Buddha
сначала
said,
начать учить, как есть, что нет,
uh,
нет я, нет феноменов, то многие люди
you
это не
know,
воспримут.
like Dharma exists. Yeah. So that one is called the purpose introducing to the someone. Indirect teaching on realities. As I said, no characteristics. This is no characteristic is not talking about the nothing,
И
because
вот дальше
sometimes
говорится, что
when
Дхарма
like
содержит
Heart
замысел,
Sutra, you
касающийся
know, no
характеристик.
form, no sound, no smell, no taste. People take literally. If you take the literally, that's a mistake.
И опять же, вот, да, если мы будем говорить о характеристиках, то есть людям объяснять напрямую, что эти
You know,
характеристики не
if
существуют,
when it
это
said
могут
no
воспринимать
form,
прямо.
it doesn't mean that there's nothing.
И в таком случае они будут введены в заблуждение.
Make
И
sense?
если мы говорим,
No
что нет
form
форм,
as
то
what
это не значит,
we
что ничего не
expect.
существует
So
совсем.
in the
Да?
Chitta mantra is all the
И
three
вот в чита-мантре
characteristics. You
есть
know,
три характеристики.
what called impute reality,
Да, то есть
dependent reality,
это
and absolute
приписываемая
reality.
реальность, зависимая
So
реальность, абсолютная
imputed
реальность.
reality
Итак, приписываемая реальность.
So especially is a teaching on the on reality is talking about the impute as what we imagine
есть
is not real.
Это то, что мы как бы
Make
сами
sense? So that
воображаем на
way,
самом
because that
качестве,
reason
которое мы
said Buddha
приписываем
give
реальности.
teaching of the there is nothing. The indirect teaching connected
И
with the
есть также непрямые учения,
remedial method.
связанные с противоядием.
So this
Скрытый
one is
замысел, связанный с
there's
противоядием.
eight reason will come later and the next one. So we will not talk of those eight eight freeing from those eight mistaking. So that way Buddha give teachings. Those called the remedy method. This come later. Then indirect
Противоядие будет
teaching
дальше потом
expressing through
говориться.
the
И дальше еще
metaphor.
скрытый замысел, касающийся изменений.
So sometime Buddha gave the metaphorically certain things like when King Ajatasattu, he was so sad and depressed because he accidentally killed his father. At that time he wasn't aware of that one. Later really regret, and when he was really deep in the depression on that, then Buddha said, it's okay to kill your father, and it's okay to kill your mother, and it's okay to destroy a whole country. If just you keep yourself as a clean, there's no problem. Then King Ajatasattu came out of that depression from that time. Then later Buddha explained the detail. So what does father mean? The cause of samsaras,
И вот по поводу изменений, да, это история про то, что однажды
what does father mean? The attachment, or what does mother mean? The aversion.
уничтожил своих родителей,
What is the
и Будда ему сказал, что это нормально, убить своих родителей, мать, отца и разрушить страну.
Samsara,
Он сказал,
the clean mean that you're free from the defilement.
И когда
The
он вышел
meaning
из
is
депрессии, то
different,
Будда объяснил,
but he used something like that.
имели прямого смысла.
So that kind
то
of
есть под
hidden
отцом,
meanings.
матерью,
So
страной
those called the
имелись
indirect
различные
teachings.
там
So
заблуждения и так
there
далее.
indirect teaching of the
И это вот как пример скрытого замысла,
introducing
касающегося
indirect
изменений.
teaching of the reality, or sometimes it's called indirect teaching of the characteristic, indirect teaching of the remedial method, and indirect teaching of the metaphor. So there's indirect teachings. These are the four kind of indirect teachings, giving when the Buddha have in mind the listener reality, and likewise the suppression of the false. So when Buddha giving teaching listener mean the Sharvaka reality, as I talk about the three characteristic, and suppose of the false, and expression of the profound. So this for reason he gave these four teachings. Like what called indirect teaching and giving purpose of introduction is like a Sharvaka or listener, they couldn't introduce to the Mahayana path. That way said, it's okay, the phenomena are exists. He didn't give the selflessness of phenomena. Okay, and indirect teaching of the reality or characteristic is talking about that based on the nature. So that way it said. And the third one is
Дальше в стихах
grammatical,
говорится о том, что есть,
sometimes they have
знаете, 4 вида намеков на равенство, иной смысл, другое время и личную установку.
The freeing from the false, the suppression of the false, because their false come later. And the last one is based on the ultimate nature. Buddha said lots of words that is not really direct teachings. Know that, know that the imply teaching are the four kinds. Implying sameness, another sense, and similarly another time, and with the people's attitude in mind. So that way there's a four different type of implying. So first one is implying sameness.
Первое это равенство.
Because of the nature are not different. That way Buddha said, I was also Buddha, past Buddha, I will be in the future Buddha. So that one. And that one's another sense.
Равенство это имеется в виду равенство Дхармака и всех Будд, да?
So like all the phenomena are not born.
Иной смысл.
All the phenomena are not born is talking about the based on the ultimate nature. Relatively, Buddha not argue. If you look at Nagarjuna's teachings, he said he never argue, he never have a disagree with the common people, because common people follow to the what called the interdependent. Interconnected. The phenomena are interdependent. So that way he have no problem with that. But he have a problem with the dogmatic way to believe in things. So that's to separate. So that reason when saying is completely empty, nothing is there's no. So that is talking about the another sense mean is a ultimate nature, not based on the relatively. Relatively, you have to believe everything as what it is.
То есть на относительном уровне мы всему как бы верим.
So your hungry is really hungry, your pain is really pain, your heart heat is really heat. All those what you experience is real.
И голод и так далее. Это все реально. На относительном уровне.
Non-virtue is really non-virtue. Virtue is really virtue.
Нет добродетели или добродетели.
You cannot excuse this at the ultimate to try to avoid all those relative truth. Make sense? So this is one saying is everything is void of and empty by nature. Is like no form, no sound, no smell, that kind of teeth, that kind of based on the ultimate nature. Then you can say that. Similarly, another times. Another time is like you can hear lots of times you can see, like I said, if you pray to the Sukhavati Pure Land, you will become Buddha, born in the Sukhavati Pure Land. If you do recite this mantra, you become a such and such. There are many texts mentioned that one. Another time means that it's a lazy one, they don't want to practice really hardly. Then they said, just recite this mantra is good enough to become a Buddha. They will practice that one hard. Then slowly they build. Then one day they can be fully practitioner. Then they can become Buddha. It's not talking about the just reciting mantra alone cannot become Buddha. But the lazy one, see it that way to bring encourage into the Dharma. So that way it's called another time. Then with the people's attitude in mind. So if people's attitude in mind means that some people, Buddha said, best
намек на
practice
индивидуальное
is the
отличие.
practice of the generosity. But then some people, for them, it's
И вот люди, например,
actually
говорят,
they
что
can
если
do more morality than generosity. Said then Buddha said actually morality is better than
И вот
generosity.
это, то есть Будда, когда говорил, что для каждых
Make
людей
sense?
есть разные
Mhm.
практики.
So like
Для кому-то он
if
говорит, что
you
лучшая
try
практика щедрость,
to
для
read
другого
the
качества это
quality of those
практика
practice,
моральности.
each one is
Вот все
the
зависит от
sounds like
индивидуальности.
each one is the every time one talk about that subject, that is the best practice. You can
И
sense
вот,
that
наверное,
way.
когда вы читаете о
Reason
каких-то
is
практиках, то
because of that
там в
Buddha
каждой
give
практике
this
написано, что
teaching as
это
a
самая лучшая практика.
attitude
Но
of
на
the
самом деле
mind
все
of the
практики лучшие.
individual.
Просто Будда давал
So some
учение.
people
Для разных
is
людей это для
better
кого-то
with
они
the
подходят, для кого-то лучше, для кого-то не менее подходят. Но практики сами по себе все хороши.
you know, like some people easier to practice the generosity, for example, six paramita.
Вот Лама
Then
опять же говорит, что
Buddha said,
кому-то
best is
легче,
generosity.
например,
But some
человеку,
people
которому
said
легче
can
практиковать
easier
щедрость,
to,
практикуй
you know,
щедрость.
morality or patience. They said actually morality is much better than generosity.
Другому человеку,
So
которому
that is according
моральность
to the
лучше
what they can.
попрактиковать, буду говорить моральные качества. И так далее.
Contempt for the Buddha and for the Dharma, laziness,
Дальше читается непочтительность будет дхарме, лень.
yeah,
Complacency.
yeah, complacency,
Недовольствование малыми достижениями.
so like laziness, said for the lazy one, Buddha said just prayer is enough. Yeah, but then there's something. Oh, just do this is good enough. Then they give their attitude of that one is a complacency. Then Buddha said, not just only generosity, you have to practice morality. Not just only morality, you have to practice patience. So until you reach to that source, Dharma. And indulgence in pride. So indulgence in pride means that like some people have a pride about how they look, pride of their physically or whatever, they have a prideness about themselves. And Buddha explained about the Pure Land and the Buddha's mature amen or mark. When it sends to talk about that, their physical look is nothing. That way. So the indulgence of the pride and attachment.
Страстное поведение, оно же привязанность,
and then attachment is they attach to or they place their name there. So then Buddha explained the Pure Land. If you listen to the Pure Land's quality, no matter where you live, is nothing compatible. So it's help you to reducing the attachment on your place, your body, your position, or whatever you have. That reason. And said remorse.
Глубокое чувство вины.
Remorse is because sometimes when people did something bad, and this remorse is so strong that they couldn't do anything.
И чувство вины настолько велико, что они парализованы.
So that time, then the Buddha said, "This is okay, harm to the Buddha."
И в такие моменты Будда говорит, что
even harm to the Buddha is become a virtuous.
В таком случае
sometimes said, like in the Tibetan we said, which means that if you have a negative relationship, negative way relationship, it means that like an enemy's way. Even you have a negative way to relationship with the Bodhisattva, you'll be free from samsara. Some point. And if you have a positive way to relationship with the Bodhisattva, within this life you will be free from samsara. So those are based on how to remorse of the peoples, because sometimes their remorse is too strong, they couldn't do anything.
Но это очень важно, чтобы не было этого
Like King Ajata
чувства.
he was so
Что-то
remorse
делать.
that he couldn't
Какая-то
practice, he
история с
couldn't
тем
eat, he
королем,
couldn't run
да,
the
который
country, and he was
случайно
totally
убил своего
messed
отца
up.
и не
At
мог
that time, Buddha
критиковать и
said,
пал в
this is
глубокую
okay
депрессию.
sometimes.
Поэтому Будда сказал ему, что это нормально.
Then rejection by those of the four fixed potentials.
Дальше говорится отступление
So this
неопределившихся.
means that unfixed potentials, because some bodhisattva unfixed family. It means that not sure. You can become any family based on the condition. Based on that, and Buddha said, and also sometimes people try to giving up the Mahayana path because it's so difficult.
Но здесь
And Buddha said ultimately
отхождение от пути Махаяна.
one potential. It means that
Когда
everyone
Бодхисаттва
have only
отходит
one vehicle, one
отступает
path. Everyone have to
пути
become a
Махаяна.
Buddha. Then they said, okay, so there's no point to give up now, but later have to join back. Everyone. So that's why it's just not giving up. So that's what to say. People who want to rejection of the Mahayana path because they are unfixed potential, and the Buddha help them to not reject with that.
И, то есть,
So for those
если он
reasons,
чувствует тяжело
Buddha
из-за
gave
Махаяны,
this teaching called the
не
indirect
уступать, нужно
teachings.
временно приостановиться, потом снова
Purpose of those, because there are so many
наступать не надо.
different. Each one have a different condition. That way, I always said, when it comes to the teacher and students
И вот
relationship,
противоядием от
must
всех
know
вещей,
really
которые
well each
перечислены,
other.
там, непочтительность к Будде, лень и так
Because
далее,
only if you have
является
each other
колесницей.
know really well, then they can indicate this way. Otherwise, there no way. Make sense? As a remedy of this obscuration in the beings, Buddha taught the supreme vehicles.
И вот
That's
вам
all
учил,
the
что
fault
эти препятствующие скверным существ,
obstructing
противоядие от
them
них,
will be
была
removed. So this
провозглашена
reason Buddha gave
великая
the supreme
колесница.
vehicle of the Mahayana.
Великая
To
колесница
remedy
Махаяны.
of this faults. This also false. Laziness, complexness,
Да, лень,
intelligence, pride, attachment, remorse, rejection of the Mahayana, and this all false because that reason Buddha gave the
Это
teaching.
все препятствующие скверные существ.
The best of the wise
Противоядием
being
является высшая
who
колесница.
apply themselves
И дальше говорится в следующем стихе. То очень
holding the
мудрое
two
существо, которое
stanzas.
стремится постичь и помнить. Эти
I
строфы.
think I forgot some parts. What's the contempt of we got the 19? What's the contempt for the Buddha and for the Dharma? That one I forgot. Sorry. This is a why Buddha said I was past Buddha. Reason is sometimes people have this idea of, oh, past Buddha is pure and it's much better. Our Buddha is short life, like those past Buddha live like a many years, thousands years. Shakyamuni live under the 100 years. And also other pure land. So when they said, oh, they are so pure, but this Shakyamuni pure land is really impure. So they have this kind of discrimination between the Buddha. Oh, that Buddha is better than Shakyamuni, or this Buddha is better than that one. I mean, we have this kind of a contempt for,
Иногда мы
makes sense?
занимаемся тем, что
So
пытаемся разобраться.
because of that reason, Buddha said,
какое
I
чувство
was
земли
also
находится.
a past Buddha. I was also another Buddha. This another Buddha, inseparable. And when come to the Dharma, like certain religion Dharma teachings only give to the high class, like Hindu only give to the Brahmin and maybe some royals. No, the low caste cannot go to the temple, cannot receive the teaching, cannot join to the monastery.
И вот раньше там Лама говорит о том, что В
But
индуизме
Buddha said everyone welcome.
самые высшие учения.
There are no discrimination. So actually in India, sometimes people look at Buddhism as a low caste.
И лама
Because a lot of low caste join to the
часто
Buddhism.
смотрит на буддизм
And,
как каста, потому что
And in the Buddhism, there's no really low caste or low class or high class. So that way they said, oh, Buddhism teaching is it can give any caste class. So it's not that important. Our teaching is really important because only can receive the Brahmin and this. So that kind of discrimination, people then say, oh, Buddhist teaching is not that good. So because of this kind of attitude, so Buddha said, I was also past Buddha. I will be on the future Buddha. All Buddha is me. That's the reason is that. So that one I forgot actually. So best of a wise being who apply themselves to holding the two stanzas.
Постичь и помнить две эти строфы, их слова и смысл, обретает 10 достоинств.
This talking about the contempt for the Buddha and for the Dharma, that and laziness and complexity. So that's the talk about two stanza. By meaning of this word of the meaning will occur 10 kind of good qualities. So when you like verse 19 and 20, when you have received, then you have a quality 10 qualities. What are 10 qualities? The fools increasing of their potentials. Fools increasing mean that their potential of the Mahayana family is increased, getting better. Reason is because you are now free from the doubt and not knowing. The greatest happiness at the moment of the death. So at the time of the death, you will get really happily die. So this is different. Dharma practitioners, when dying, they die really happily. That's the result of Dharma. In Tibet, I'm not saying you become a Tibetan, but lots of people believe this way. At the time of the death, you show up your true color. When you are dying really miserably, that means that you have wasted your life for the meaningless, negative things. When people did all the good things and live with the life as a meaningfully, according to the Dharma, they will die peacefully, happily. So that's why here saying is the time of the death would die with happily. These two are in this lives benefit from the Dharma teachings. Then in the next life, rebirth wherever they wish, your birth will be more in your control. So that way those high lama, they have power to can reborn anywhere they want. Like many high lama, they mention where they would reborn before their death. Yeah, so the power they wish. And in all their life,
и помнить все свои прошлые жизни.
Recollection of their past lives. It means that when they're reborn in this life, they remember on the past.
То есть, когда они рождаются в новой жизни, они помнят все свои прошлые, да?
Some directly remember, some even not directly remember, but
они помнят прямо и ясно.
They perform similarly like their past lives. Like I heard one senior Khenpo, now he passed away, same class with the Khenpo Rinpoche in the Varanasi. He said, Holiness Yawan Drupa, his writing point is really good. He said, he is truly Pema Kappa's reincarnation. Pema Kappa was one of the great poet and writer with the Drupa Kagyu master.
Да, и вот этот
So
Кхенпо
that's the fourth one. This is
считался
the 12th one.
действительно одним из,
He said this is
что он
truly
действительно был
his
перерождением одного
reincarnation
из
because
важных
how he write
буддийских деятелей,
is.
потому
So
что
things like
тот,
that, they remember,
кто
they
в него
have attitude
переродился, он
similar
был
past
известен
one.
своими литературными
So
способностями.
that
Поэтому
way,
Кхенпо тоже
sometimes
такой.
I'm confused when some reincarnation do go, they never behave like a past one. So that's a little bit confused for me.
Но при этом Лама говорит, что иногда очень смущает, что
The
некоторые
past
новые
lives.
перерождения
Meeting with the Buddhas,
отличаются
and
от
they, of
старых.
course, they will meet with the Buddha.
Дальше другие
Hearing the
перечисляются
supreme
стих. Возможность
vehicle
встречаться с Буддами,
from Buddha,
слушать языку случайных
endowment
высших
with the
подесниц,
interest
веру в
and
нее, утвержденный ум.
understandings. Having interest is not easy. Even you interesting, getting understand is not easy. Those will come. And accusation of the two doors.
Дальше обретает две двери, то
Accusation
есть
of the two doors
самадхи и
is
дхарани.
talking about the samadhi and dharani, knowledge, contemplation
Дхарани как
and
знание,
knowledge will
самадхи
came.
как
Those two
медитативное
doors.
состояние, да, и
And
быстрое
swift
достижение
attainment
пробуждения.
of the enlightenment. So this, I think, these 10. Yeah.
Это тут
Increasing
есть
your
10 качеств, да,
potential
которые
one, great happiness at the time of the death, 2, rebirth wherever you wish, 3, and all the recollection of your past lives is 4, meeting with the Dharma is 5, hearing supreme vehicle of the Mahayana teaching is 6, interest is 7, and understand is 8, and accusation of the two doors 9, and swift attainment of the enlightenment 10. This 10 quality we can. Those Bodhisattvas with the good intellect who are tireless, loving, renowned, and expert in right procedures. So what is the right procedure mean that who know how to
То есть, да, и здесь вот делается большой акцент на том, как правильно учить, да.
Are excellent expounded in teachings.
They are
brightly shining sun in the midst of the humankind. So those great teachers are like sun. Sun's quality, they give the light, they give the warmness, and they give the what called ripe all the fruit and the vegetarian.
И позволяет всем овощам и фруктам созревать.
Those are sun produce. Similarly, through the teacher give the light of knowledge, and he give the warmness of the happiness, and the maturation of the bring to the liberation path.
И созревание плодов на пути освобождения.
That way those teachers like shining like sun.
И именно поэтому здесь употребляется бодхисаттва, проповедник солнцу.
Similar quality.
Поскольку качество их подобно.
I thought you were trying to say simile, which is kind of like a metaphor.
Yeah, simile with the sun and teacher.
Yeah.
Light of the wisdom and warmness of the compassion.
Лама еще раз повторяет эту метафору, да, свет мудрости, тепло, страдания и позволяет созревать духовным плодам на пути к движению к просветлению.
Same thing as a teacher give to our, So outer planet, outer universe is a sun, how much benefit is the inner universe, teacher how much benefit. So that way, teacher is like a sun to shine with the midst of the humankind. Okay, so this is the chapter 13.
И на этом вот заканчивается глава 13.
Almost time out, so we stop here.
На сегодня все, говорит Лама.
Chanchu semcho Rинпоче Maje bana Kagyu Kepa nyamba memba Kone kondo pewai sho tada konde tam jeje du sundo saba. Yebe jiwe zawande tada suje danje nyundo lana memba yanda bazobe janju remboje taba joj. Shecha goze kunje juje dende nela wando Drikung bare jebe je dembo sidel. Shedro to san gombe zenju. Thank you everyone.
Cảm ơn sư Minh Thầy. Cảm ơn tất cả quý đạo hữu.
Лама благодарит всех вас. Но мы благодарим Ламу, соответственно.
How to say it?
Gracias, Kempola. Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias, Kempo.
De nada, de nada.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Welcome. Thank you.
Russian Sangha, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone. Спасибо.
Placebo.
Спасибо. I think they're Russian.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I only know one word.
I know blocked.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Thanks so much.
Лама еще раз благодарит всех. Прощается.
Спасибо, Ринпоче.
Thank you.